time to sit back, relax, and catch up on the happenings around the league. It's the Elite Wire with Bradley.
Yo, what is up, Madden Elite? Bradley here, coming at you guys with this weekend's Wire. We have a handful of topics to chat about this week. Excited to dive into things that we have to dive into. Right off the bat, the first thing that we are going to be looking at today is the league power rankings according to Daddy Leagues. According to Daddy Leagues, the top 10 teams in the league, starting at number 1, we have the undefeated Baltimore Ravens. Coming in at number 2, we have the 8-1 Seahawks. We will be chatting a bit more about the Seahawks here momentarily. We have the 8-1 Vikings. At number 3, number 4, we have the Washington football team coming in at 7-2, or I think I said number 4. Number 4 is the Los Angeles Chargers coming in at 6-2. And then at number 5, we have the Washington football team coming in at 7-2. Number 6, we have the 7-2 Kansas City Chiefs. Number 7, we have the 6-2 Jets. Number 8, the Los Angeles Rams coming in at 7-2. Number 9, the Cincinnati Bengals at 6-2. And then number 10, the Jacksonville Jaguars coming in at number 3. So that is our top 10 teams in the league according to Daddy Leagues. We'll be chatting a bit more about quite a few of those teams as the show goes on. However, before we dive into those things, the next thing that we really have to look at is our offensive and defensive players of the week. The defensive player of the week, we have Deion Jones, middle linebacker for the Houston Texans, coming in with 5 tackles, 3 interceptions, and a forced fumble. Deion Jones came in huge in the previous week. And then the offensive player of the week, Derrick Henry. I mean, what more can you say about this performance? 22 touches, 287 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Absolutely ridiculous. And that, I believe, is just like what he did on the ground. I'm sure he tore it up in the receiving game as well. Let's take a look. Let's go to the game logs. I think game logs will give us the stats. Yes. So receiving wise, he only had 1 reception. So you didn't make Freight Train's naughty list this week. 1 reception, 11 yards, but oh my goodness. That rushing from Derrick Henry, 22 attempts, 287 yards, 13 yards per carry average, along a 58, 5 20-plus runs, 7 broke tackles, 4 touchdowns. And looking at the other games from Docket, it looks like that's not his only 4-touchdown game. This game right here, didn't have as many yards. He had 30 attempts, 185 yards against Mex and his Raiders. He had 4 touchdowns in that game as well. Derrick Henry is having a monster year, but I mean, it's his to be expected. Derrick Henry is on another absolute level. He's absolutely tearing it up. I want to shift gears a little bit, though. I want to shift gears, and I want to throw a curveball at the league. Since season 1, I have said, and it has kind of gone uncontested until now, I have said that the number 1 division in Madden Elite is the AFC North. Are they still the number 1 division in the league? My answer, I don't think so. I don't think the AFC North is now the uncontested number 1 division in the league. Malibu has come in. Malibu is a solid owner. He can compete with the very best of them. Estrada has gone completely MIA. Estrada has 2 wins on the season. His 2 wins are against me, which is to be expected, and against Gumbo, which is to be expected. Those are his only 2 wins on the year. The reason why the AFC North has been the uncontested number 1 team, number 1 division in the league, is because all 4 of the guys in the division have been competing at the very top spots in the league. No longer is that the case. Previously, I believe there have been times when we've looked at when we could have looked at the power rankings, right? And all 4 of the AFC North teams would have been in this top 10. At this moment, we only have 2. Only 2 AFC North teams in this top 10. If I say that I no longer think the AFC North is the top division in the league, what division then is the top division in the league? I would like to present to you all the NFC East. I believe if the NFC East went head to head with the AFC North, if the top AFC North team and the top NFC East team went head to head, and then kind of going down the list, the number 2 teams in each division going head to head, the number 3 teams in each division going head to head, and the number 4 teams in each division going head to head, I think it is very, very possible for the NFC East to go to pull out 3 wins out of this competition, right? So let me pull up another notepad, and I'll pull it up on screen here. Give me a second to jank this up because I was not planning this. Just give me a second. It'll just be a second. So we're going to look at this. Okay. Let me pull this. Window capture number 2. There we go. That's what we want. So let's look at this, right? Give me a second to adjust these screens. Bam. And now we will slide that down. There we go. That's what we want right there. That's what we want. So we'll zoom out of that a little bit. There we go. Okay. So the top team in the AFC North is the Ravens. And crap. Okay, we got to adjust this again. Bear with me one second. Boop. Boop. Okay, that's much easier. There we go. So the top team in the AFC North is the Ravens. And the top team in the NFC East is the Washington football team. And then the number 2 team in the AFC North, we have the Bengals. The Bengals. Number 2 team in the NFC East, we have the Eagles. Number 3, Steelers. And then we have the Giants. And then we have the Browns and the Cowboys. So let's just kind of start right. Let's start this. Let's look at this. We'll start with the lowest tier teams and we'll work up to the highest tier, right? So the Browns and the Cowboys. The Browns and the Cowboys. The Browns and the Cowboys. I think, first glance, most people would be like, all right, Estrada is whooping Jeff and his Cowboys. But is he? Would we really pick Estrada and his Browns over Jeff and his Cowboys? We have seen Jeff get completely obliterated. This week on Thursday night, on the Thursday night fight night, we saw Alex and his Giants slaughtered Jeff and his Cowboys, right? We saw that. Jeff has taken some other big losses. However, when we look at the games, Estrada has 2 wins on the season. Jeff has 3 wins on the season. Now, a lot of people are like, whoa, Cincy, wait. One of Jeff's wins are against you. You know what? One of Estrada's 2 wins are against me. Both of those guys blew me out of the water. And when we look at the other wins of these teams, Estrada's other win is against Gumbo. So, that's not a high-end team, right? Out of Jeff's 3 wins, he has a win over Kanyu, which I would put Kanyu as flirting with being a top team. So when we look at what they've done this season, going slowly off of this season, I'm giving the edge to the NFC East. So that is 1 win in NFC East, 1 win AFC North. When we look at Malibu and Alex, right? Who's going to win this game? This game could go either way. Malibu can compete with the very best. Alex can compete with the very best. Alex, though, is coming off of that Super Bowl appearance. And Alex seems to be like a little bit hit and miss, but he can absolutely hang with the best of the best. His journey through the NFC playoffs, last playoff cycle, was an incredibly tough journey, but he pulled it out every step along the way. Malibu Alex, who am I giving the edge to? I'm giving the edge to Alex. That is another one for the NFC East. Now, here, this game here, OC and his Bengals versus Kanyu and his Eagles. Kanyu and his Eagles, they are sitting at 5-4. OC and his Bengals are sitting at 6-2. I think OC probably has a lot. I think a lot of people would probably pick OC over Kanyu. However, I just have this gut feeling, and I'm going with Kanyu in this. I think if Kanyu and OC played right now, this very moment, Kanyu would walk away with the win. So, like, even before we get to the 2 top teams in the division going head to head, the edge is already the NFC East. However, in the end, like, that doesn't matter. Like, the thing that matters is, like, that top team. In the end, you can be the Super Bowl runner-up and it won't mean anything, right? And, like, we saw that with Alex and his Giants. Alex and his Giants last season made it to the Super Bowl, but he couldn't get it done. Who did he play in the Super Bowl? He played Chuck and his Ravens. Chuck and his Ravens are currently the only undefeated team left in the league. And that is the top team for the AFC. What about Cobra, though, and his Washington football team? Can Cobra and his Washington football team edge out Ravens, Chuck and his Ravens? I think it's very much possible. I think it would be very much possible for Cobra and his Washington football team to edge out over the Ravens. However, being as Chuck is the reigning defending Super Bowl world champion of the world, and that he's still currently undefeated, we're going to have to give this one to Chuck. So AFC North. Chuck is the only undefeated team left in the league. We can't go disrespecting that. But could Cobra get it done? Let's take a moment and pull up what the Washington football team is doing this season. Like, Cobra is having an amazing year. All right, Cobra is having an amazing year. And I think it is very much possible that Cobra could be representing the NFC when it comes time for the Super Bowl. Let's look at these stats. So, points-wise, Cobra is 4th in the league. Yards-wise, he's 3rd in the league. Passing yards, he's 6th in the league. Rushing yards, he's 11th in the league. He has an upper echelon offense here. This is arguably a top 5 offense in the league. His defense, look at his defense. His defense, he points allowed, he's 4th in the league. Yards allowed, 13th in the league. Passing yards allowed, he's 22nd in the league. Rushing yards allowed, he's 6th in the league. So while his defense might not be on par with top 5 in the league, his defense is still one of the better defenses in the league. Cobra currently has everything rolling on all cylinders. Scrolling down, looking at his stats, Darren LaFrance has a few years in the league, and he is balling out. Rushing wise, he's got a good system going. Receiving wise, he's got a good system going. Let's take a moment, though, and pull up LaFrance and see what he's done on the season. LaFrance still is only sitting at a 79 overall, so he hasn't developed as much as you would like. Coming down and looking at his stats, so there are some things to be concerned about. If Cobra and Chuck were to go head to head, to me, my biggest concern is LaFrance here. Looking at his stats, look here in like week 5, right? Like LaFrance didn't even get on the board with a touchdown in week 5. And looking at his interception ratios, there are some things to be concerned about. His game against Freight Train here. 4 interceptions. On paper, looking at Cobra's offense, he's performing on all cylinders. His defense is an upper echelon defense. However, the big concern is LaFrance. And if we flip gears, right? We flip gears and we go over and we look at the Ravens, right? Quarterback play is the most important play in the game. Lamar Jackson is an absolute beast. He's sitting at 99 overall. Then we come down and we look at his stats, his most recent game stats. And for the most part, he wins the touchdown to interception ratio, right? He does make mistakes at times. I mean, we saw that in the Super Bowl. We saw in the Super Bowl where Chuck threw an interception, and then Cobra on commentary responds to that interception. Yeah, Chuck's not throwing another pass. And you know what happened? I don't believe Chuck threw another pass the entire rest of the Super Bowl. Then on the other hand, we have Cobra and his 4 interception game. To me, like, I think one of the major things that are contributing to Chuck's success is playing smart. And I would say in most cases, right, I would say that 4 interception bomb that Cobra had is definitely more the exception of the rule. Cobra is usually a very smart player. And honestly, if these two teams played right now, I think there is a chance Cobra could pull it out. I think Cobra is one of the few people in the league right now that I would say would have a chance at beating Chuck. But in the end, the final score of this NFC East versus AFC North. NFC East comes out with 3 wins, and the AFC North comes out with 1 win, making the NFC East the top division in Madden Elite. Maybe a controversial statement. Maybe you agree. Maybe you don't. I think a lot of people would find the whole Jeff over Estrada a bit sketchy. But I mean, in the end, the facts are the facts, and the facts are Estrada has only beaten me and Jimbo, while Jeff has a huge upset win over Kanyu. So I got to go with Jeff. In other topics, it was previously mentioned that that Chuck is the one undefeated team left in the league. Coming into this week, there was another undefeated team left. The game of the week featured Benjamin Begelman colliding with the 7, or at the time, the 6-2 Chiefs. At the time, Benjamin Begelman was 8-0, and Bread and his Kansas City Chiefs were 6-2. And according to Daddy Leagues, this was the game of the week. And as you can see from the score here, Bread handed Benjamin Begelman his first loss of the season. Let's pull up that game and take a look at it. So here it is. The score: Bread 24, Beeman 21. Russell Wilson, and we talked about playing smart and like interceptions and all that. Look at this. Russell Wilson went 19 for 27, 385 yards, 2 touchdowns with a 5 interception performance. Malone had 10 attempts for 44 yards, 1 touchdown. Metcalf had 6 receptions, 204 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bread's side of the ball, Bread went 12 for 18 with Mahomes, 225, 2 yards, 1 touchdown. Barkley had 17 attempts, 106 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyreek Hill, 3 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Bread got it done. Bread got it done, and Beeman struggled massively in this game. On the year, Russell Wilson is sitting at 19 interceptions. You don't want to see that. Benjamin Begelman is a top contender in the league. And I said this during the Thursday night fight night, right? We've put Beeman up on a pedestal, right? And I said this during the Thursday night fight night. But I'm starting to think maybe the hype around Benjamin Begelman, maybe it's a little too much hype. Maybe he's put a little bit too high on the pedestal. I had my game with Benjamin Begelman. I almost beat him. And I suck. And the way I almost beat him, I did one thing on defense and I did it over and over and over and over. All I did was play over the top. Now, I didn't watch Bread's game, but I bet I'm willing to say Bread played a lot over the top, which led to all of those interceptions. When Beeman gets down, from what I've seen from Beeman, right? When Beeman gets down, it's not the same Beeman that we get when Beeman's up and Beeman's rolling. If you can get Beeman down and get him cornered, I think it's easy to get it in his head. My game against him, I got it in his head. And yeah, that's a fluke. My game against him is a fluke. But that game in itself means nothing. But when we look back at the Super Bowl, not the Super Bowl, but the NFC Championship from last season when he played Alex. Alex was milking out that clock. Beeman was in the call for the stream, just chatting, having a good time, right? Not giving it all, right? And Alex on the other side of the ball was milking out the clock, slowly making a comeback, and he got in Bread's head, or not Bread's head, but Beeman's head. I think it might be a lot easier than some people think to get in Beeman's head, and I think if you can get Beeman down and get him in a position where he feels like he has to score, he's predictable. You can take it for what you want. You can take that for what you want. I'm rooting for Beeman. I want Beeman. I want Beeman to go all the way. I would love to see him back in the bowl. My ideal Super Bowl, right? Let's see. My ideal Super Bowl, I think, the best possible scenario for a Super Bowl, I think would be a rematch of this week's game of the week, right? Seahawks, Chiefs. That's my ideal Super Bowl. That's the Super Bowl I want to see. I want to see Beeman get all the way back to the Super Bowl. I want to see Bread in the Super Bowl. No, some people might be like, whoa, wait a minute. You want to see Bread in the Super Bowl for the AFC? What about Chuck? Listen, Chuck's my guy, right? And I'm always pulling for Chuck. I don't know, though. I love you, Chuck. But I don't know if Chuck has a repeat in him. He might. And I'm also just kind of pulling for Bread, right? Bias. I'm biasly pulling for Bread, But yeah, my ideal Super Bowl would feature Bread and Beeman. All I know is I'm incredibly excited to watch the rest of this season play out. There are so many teams competing at high-end spots. And a team like, and it's all across the league too. Like the AFC East, when we look at it, it's like Gumbo's trash division, right? And I think the Jets though. So keep an eye on the Jets. The Jets has had some big games this cycle. And when Jets first came in, he had a lot of hype around him. Didn't live up to the hype. But I think if he's going to live up to the hype, it might be this season. NFC East, I think Cobra has what it takes to hang with the very best. AFC West, we have Bread doing his thing. NFC West is a loaded division. We have Beeman competing at the highest of levels possible, and I know I give him a lot of crap, but Zell can hang with the very best of them. NFC North, any of the 4 teams in the AFC North could go all the way. NFC North, true talent, is turning a lot of heads this season. In the AFC South, there are multiple teams. The Jaguars are having a phenomenal season. We've seen Doc perform at high levels. I think Freight Train has what it takes to perform at the highest of levels. And in the NFC South, I feel like the NFC South is having a very disappointing season. It's my division, so like the bar is low, right? But I'm telling you, South and his Falcons, and then also the Panthers, both of these two guys, June his Panthers, South and his Falcons, like both of those two teams can hang with the very best. There is so much competition in this league. And like by the time we get to the playoffs, it's anybody's dance. Once the playoffs hit, the regular season, like win-loss records, means absolutely nothing. What you've done in previous seasons, what you've done in previous leagues, it means absolutely nothing. The competition is immense, and I'm excited to watch the rest of this season play out. So until next time, peace.